It's evening in Bruges. The bells of the Belfry echo across Markt Square. Tour groups are pouring into restaurants, and the canal boats are crammed. But only a few blocks away, the Itinerary Canal is silent. Locals walking home, the water like glass. This is the Bruges most travelers miss. In this 4-day guide, we'll show you how to find moments like this every day of your trip. No more wandering around this city and missing out on the best of Bruges. You're going to master it like an insider. No time to waste, time for Day 1. Day 1. Historic Center and Canals. From marked squares to moonlit waters. Day 1 starts the way Bruges rewards early risers, when the streets are hushed and the glimmering waterways look freshly painted. At dawn, Rozenhoedkaai turns into a living postcard. The belfry mirrored in still water, broken only when a swan glides past. By mid-morning, regular canal boats are running, so this early window is your best shot at glass-like water. To catch these first serene hours without much effort, stay close to the center. Hotel Duke's Palace puts you in a 15th century former ducal residence in a few minutes' walk from Markt Square, with a spa tucked behind its historic walls. Prefer something more low-key? Eco-Hotel Favori in St. Killis is family-run, eco-labeled, and known for thoughtful local tips over breakfast. It's about a 10 to 12-minute walk to the Markt. By 9:30, head for the Belfry. It's 366 steps, but the climb breaks into chapters. The old treasury with its iron chest, the Carillon room where 47 bells carry on ticking away the city's soundtrack, and finally, the rooftop view. On a clear day, you'll spot the North Sea in the distance, with Bruges' red roofs laid out like a checkerboard punctured by church spires. And if this view already feels incredible, wait until Day 4. In Ghent, you'll stand atop a belfry where 3 towers line up in one sweeping panorama. Stick around for that. From here, it's an easy stroll to Burg Square, where the city layers its history in stone. The Gothic city hall bristles with golden statues telling stories of rulers and saints. Enter the Basilica of the Holy Blood, and you'll find 2 worlds stacked together, a hushed Romanesque crypt below, and an upper chapel shimmering with stained glass above. Stop by between 2 and 4, when locals line up to venerate the crystal vial said to hold Christ's blood, a living ritual that feels worlds away from a museum display. Insider tip, grab the 72-hour Musea Brugge card. It covers all open locations of Musea Brugge for 72 hours, like the Belfry, Groningen, and City Hall, and lets you skip ticket lines, handy when others are waiting. You can buy it online or at tourist offices and museum box offices. For your convenience, all booking links mentioned in this itinerary are in the video description. Grab a quick croque monsieur from a cafe on the square. Gooey, salty, done. Then head to Rozenhoedkaai and hop on the official Bruges Canal tour. This 30-minute loop along the fixed route between Jan van Eyck Square and the Begijnhof passes classic viewpoints like Rozenhoedkaai, the Diver, with the Church of Our Lady, and the Kuruza Bridge. In season, boats run daily, about 10 to 1800, and all companies follow the same course. A stone's throw away is the Bruges Beer Experience above Markt Square. Begin your visit in the sensory exhibits to smell core ingredients, hops, barley, yeast. Then head to the bar for 16 draft options with a view over the Markt, a prime spot as the light warms up late in the day. Dinner at Pool Mool means choosing your mussel preparation. White wine creates delicate broth for bread dipping, while cream and garlic coat each shell with richness. The fries arrive properly twice fried. Alternatively, Cambrinus offers 400+ beers to pair with Carbonade Flamande, the beer's bitterness balancing the stew's sweetness. Once darkness falls, the provincial court's neo-Gothic facade becomes dramatically lit from below. Follow the water's path to the Bonifacius Bridge behind the Church of Our Lady. Its stone arch creates beautiful reflections. Small details emerge in lamplight. Iron boot scrapers, carved faces on corners, dates marking centuries of habitation. The 2B beer wall courtyard offers the finale. Order a Bruxa Zot and watch black water shimmer under stars. Tomorrow shifts gears. Michelangelo's only sculpture outside Italy, paintings that sparkle like jewels, and a brewery so inventive it pumps beer through underground pipes. Before we jump into Day 2, If this itinerary is the kind of travel planning you've been looking for, consider subscribing to Itinerary Insiders. It helps us grow a community of curious travelers who want trips that feel seamless, well-timed, and insider-driven. Plus, you won't miss next week's city guide. Day 2, Art, Churches, and Brewery, Masters and Maltsters. Begin today's exploration at the Church of Our Lady on Mariaatstraat, a brief stroll from the Markt. Around 9:30 a.m., morning light pours through Gothic windows onto Michelangelo's Madonna and Child in a tucked-away side chapel. Look closely at the marble. Mary's face seems both youthful and wise, as if the stone itself breathes. The church is free to enter, but a museum ticket is required to view the sculpture and the tombs of Charles the Bold and Mary of Burgundy. Next door, walk into Old St. John's Hospital, among Europe's oldest surviving hospital complexes. Stroll down the old ward past timber beams, bed frames, and the 17th century pharmacy. Then head into the chapel, where Hans Memling's Shrine of St. Ursula stands, its painted panels rich with jewel-like scenes that practically invite you to lean in and pause in awe. After taking in the Shrine of St. Ursula, you're moments away from Brewery de Halve. Expect lunch with history, city views, and a pint pulled steps from the brewing halls. The standard 45-minute tour climbs through 6 floors of brewing heritage, from old mash tuns and malting rooms to the rooftop lookout over Bruges. At the finish, you'll sip an unfiltered Brugesot, only served here. And the city's strangest secret? A 3.2-kilometer underground pipeline quietly pumps beer beneath the cobblestones to the bottling plant, keeping tankers out of the medieval lanes. The nearby Begijnhof feels like stepping into another century. Whitewashed houses circling a peaceful green shaded by tall poplars. These weren't convents. Beguines were independent women who lived and worked here. Walk softly. Benedictine sisters still live here today. Entry to the grounds is free, though there's a small fee to visit the museum house. Just beyond lies Mijnewater, the so-called Lake of Love. Despite the name, it began as a reservoir for canal regulation. Legend says Bruges agreed to keep swans here forever, so you'll almost always find them gliding under willow branches. The lake is free to visit, and it's as romantic as it is grounded in history. Instead of a single sit-down dinner, make it a mini food crawl. Kick things off with proper frites at Chez Vincent, crisp and double-fried for maximum crunch. Then move on to Grand Café de Passage for stouflés, beef slow braised in Trappist ale until fork tender. Finish at House of Waffles, choosing between airy Brussels style or chewy Liège waffles topped with caramelized pearl sugar. Each stop is close to the next, so the evening flows easily from appetizer to main to dessert. End the night at Jan van Eyck, once Bruges' historic port, now a tranquil square that whispers of ships and trade. The Portersloge still carries its old crane beams, echoes of wine barrels long hauled inside. Nearby, to Brugge's Beertje awaits with a wall of beer options, over 300 Belgian bottles, with bartenders who really know their stuff. Tell them your flavor preferences and they'll guide you to something unforgettable from the vast list. If you thought today was full of masterpieces, tomorrow takes you off the beaten path. Expect windmills atop the ramparts, quirky food museums, and chocolate creations you'd never guess. Day 3. Windmills, chocolate and food culture, sweet science and savory history. Think you've seen Bruges already? Day 3 proves otherwise. The day begins along old city walls, a stretch of grassy paths where Bruges' windmills continue to stand guard beside the moat. Make your way to Koele a relocated 18th century wooden post mill on the Kruisvest grassy embankments. The one you can climb is nearby Sint-Jan's Huismolen, which opens to visitors in season. It's free to visit and usually quiet, giving you a calm start before the city wakes up. Continue along the old fortifications to Sint-Jan's Huismolen, built in 1770 and still turning when the wind allows. This is the real highlight. You can climb steep ladders into the wooden post mill, see the creaking gears in motion, and watch flour dust drift through the beams. From the top, Bruges stretches out in views that feel unchanged for centuries. Insider tip: climb Sint-Jan's Huismolen right when it opens. You'll have the ladders and creaking gears almost to yourself, and the miller often has more time to answer questions before tour groups arrive. Venture into the Sint-Anna Quarter, a tucked-away neighborhood that retains Bruges' everyday pace. At Jerusalem Chapel, black marble tombs and carved skulls catch the light under jewel-toned stained glass. Around the corner, the Folklore Museum brings life to history. From a classroom with scar-scrawled desks to a sweet shop full of striped humbugs, a quick stroll brings you to the Chocolate Line, the workshop of chocolatier Dominique Persona. Sometimes called the chocolatier for pushing boundaries. Flavors like wasabi, curry, or even bacon get folded into pralines, and you can watch the staff hand-pipe fillings behind glass so the creativity feels alive. A few steps further is Dumont, a family-run boutique set inside a storybook corner house. This is the opposite vibe. Traditional pralines made the classic Belgian way. Smooth hazelnut paste, silky buttercream, and liqueur-filled shells presented in neat little boxes. Tasting a few from each side by side is half the fun. Daring modern twists versus timeless craftsmanship. Wander into Choco-Story, and suddenly chocolate feels less like dessert and more like a time traveler. The path winds from ancient Mayan cacao rituals to Belgium's modern refinement. The highlight is the live demo. Molten chocolate poured, cooled, and snapped into glossy bars right before your eyes. You'll taste your way up the ladder. 50%, 70%, even 85% cacao. Noticing how bitterness transforms into deeper, richer notes. And the kicker? Your ticket gives you edible currency. A full bar often filled with speculoos or other Bruges flavors. Around the corner, switch from sweet to savory at the Friet Museum, a 3-floor tribute to Belgium's national obsession. It explains why Belgian fries taste different. The right potato variety, uneven hand-cut edges that crisp in hot oil, and the sacred double fry method. In the vaulted cellar cafe, grab a cone crowned with stouflays, rich beef stew gravy soaking into crunchy fries, eaten the way Belgians have always done it, from a paper cone with wooden fork. After indulging in chocolate and fries, balance it out with a slow wander into Kortenwinkel, counted among Bruges' most evocative streets. Fires in the Middle Ages forced most of the city to rebuild in stone, but this pocket escaped, so timber-framed houses endure here, crooked and leaning like they're frozen mid-collapse. Look up at the diamond-paned windows, some jutting forward above tiny, time-worn doors that feel made for another scale of life. It's a reminder that Bruges offers more than postcard canals. It's also a city where fragile wood has somehow survived centuries. As evening sets in, you have 2 directions to choose from. For dinner and atmosphere, make your way into the warm glow of Het Zwarthuis in the St. Jacobs Quarter, a few minutes north of the Markt. Live jazz fills the 15th century beams, and between sets, the kitchen serves rabbits simmered in cherry beer or wild boar. Or spend the evening at Café Vlissingen, Bruges' oldest pub, serving travelers since 1515. Inside, dark wood panels and centuries-old beams set the mood for a pint, while the back garden offers a cozy corner on warm nights. Order a classic Trappist or local ale, and let the sense of history carry you into the night. If you're craving a broader experience, guided beer tasting walks through Bruges run about €49 per person, comparing Trappist and Abbey traditions and showing why Belgians embrace wild yeasts other countries dismiss. You'll find direct booking links for these options in the video description. Your final day blends 2 worlds: Ghent, with fortress walls that continue to dominate the skyline and cathedral glass that floods the interior with light, and Bruges, offering one final night of its waterways at their most magical. Don't miss it. Day 4, day trip to Ghent and final Bruges evening. 2 cities, 1 perfect day. Head out early, either on foot or by a quick taxi from your hotel to Bruges station. Trains to Ghent leave about every 15 minutes, so you won't spend long waiting. The ride itself takes under half an hour, just enough time to watch the flat Flemish countryside roll past before you arrive in the heart of a very different city. Once in Ghent, ease into the day with a canal boat from Cornlay. These 40-minute rides aren't only about the views. They double as orientation, gliding past guild emblems, carved facades, and centuries-old flood marks. Boats run steadily throughout the day. From the water, you'll spot Gravenstein Castle, its gray walls looming above the rooftops. Once the boat docks, it's only a 5-minute walk through the old streets to the entrance. Built in 1180 as a show of force, The castle remains a powerful statement. Climb the spiral stairs to ramparts that overlook the trams and rivers below. Inside, the torture exhibit educates rather than sensationalizes, with the audio guide using flashes of dry humor to lighten a grim subject. For lunch, slip into Pottersol, a maze of cobbled alleys that retain their timeless character. Tucked inside is De Klokhuis, a brasserie known for Gentse waterzooi, chicken simmered with vegetables in a creamy broth enriched with egg yolk, a dish that's been a city staple for centuries. The restaurant sits right in the heart of Pottersol, making it a natural pause before continuing to nearby landmarks you'll visit later in the afternoon. After lunch, head inside St. Bavo's Cathedral. Light pours through soaring Gothic windows and sets the stage for the adoration of the Mystic Lamb, a 15th century polyptych by the Van Eyck brothers that's considered one of Europe's greatest treasures. Every plant in paradise is painted with botanical accuracy, and each prophet's face feels startlingly individual. The optional AR tour zooms into details invisible to the eye, bringing you within brushstrokes of a work completed more than 500 years ago. Insider tip: tickets for the altarpiece often sell out before 10 a.m. Book online in advance to secure your viewing. A quick walk leads to Ghent Belfries, a 91-meter tower crowned with its iconic dragon. Touch the sculpture at ground level for luck before riding the elevator to panoramic views of rooftops, tram lines, and the city's 3 iconic towers. Continue to Verakarenstad, the illegal graffiti alley that's constantly refreshed with new murals and tags, making each visit unique. Then wander through Pottersol's cobbled lanes, home to workshops that have sheltered craftspeople like letterpress printers and violin makers for generations. End the sightseeing at St. Michael's Bridge, the postcard view of Ghent, 3 towers aligned in a perfect frame mirrored in the Leia below. The 6:40 train brings you back to Bruges around 7. End the trip with a farewell dinner at Bijkoen in Marijke. The kitchen specializes in wood-fired ribeye paired with inventive house-brewed beers. Afterwards, circle back to Rozenhoedkaai for a completely different night scene. Gabled facades gleam on the water. It's a final view that feels completely serene, closing your time in Bruges on a note of quiet magic before you head back to your hotel to prepare for departure. So ends 4 perfectly planned days in Bruges, a trip that blends iconic sights with secret discoveries. You've climbed medieval towers, tasted monastery ales, explored windmills, and taken a day trip to Ghent for a different side of Flanders. If you enjoyed this, you'll love our 4 perfect days in Copenhagen itinerary, and you can explore even more journeys in our European City Adventures playlist. We're building a community for travelers who want detailed, insider itineraries. Stop back next week for another guide, maybe even for your favorite city. And we'd love to hear your travel thoughts and stories in the comments below. Because travel isn't only about the places you go, it's about the way each city stays with you long after you've returned home.